what measures need to be taken with regard to fire safety? Because that's such a huge liability for owners these days.
Yeah, and well, I mean, like we said before, it starts with
Mhm.
dryers, dryer lint. I think
Mhm.
one of the stories I told in the article was I had a client when I was in dealer sales that we went in to replace their dryers that were 20 years old, and my installer closed the store because there was so much lint behind the dryers that he was afraid to work on them and start removing them and disconnecting the utilities
Yeah.
while the dryers were potentially operating because they were
Hmm.
so full of lint. And he
Hmm.
literally ended up grabbing garbage bags of lint. I mean, bags and bags and bags of lint just from behind a wall of dryers. And
Hmm.
so and even for me, I consider myself a pretty decent operator.
Hmm.
We had a little situation. We hit an over limit switch, and we had been cleaning the dryers, but I had them on a schedule that wasn't as routine as it should be. And so we
Hmm.
went in and we found some balls of lint in different places, and but it's their dryers are full of lint, and you need to maintain them, and um, if not, there's a spark, and those things are going to go off.
Right.
Um, so, I mean, that would be that. And then
Hmm.
dump a little thing is that people don't think about their little fire extinguisher that the city made them buy, and they've never recharged it.
Hmm.
Right. And I've got a
Oh,
buddy in
right.
the fire extinguisher business that warns me all the time and so he has me set up to have mine recharged. And we had electrical work done, and a live wire hit one of my dryers and sparked and caused a little bit of a small flame. We got the fire extinguisher, put it out, and it was out in seconds. Right. So
Right.
it,
Right.
it it's is your fire extinguisher fully charged? Because when you need it, you need it.
Right, right. You may not need it for a long time, but when you do, absolutely. That's a great advice. Matt, I know you had something to add on fire safety, or you certainly would, but
Yeah,
what would you say
I
on
guess
that?
just kind of riding the wave on the fire extinguisher. So, OSHA
Hmm.
rule says you need one for every 3,000 square foot of building.
Hmm.
I'd recommend even if you're 1,000 square foot laundromat or anything like that, you still need one. Should
Hmm.
be visible, should be not only mounted, but you can buy the glow in the dark signs above them. The fire
Hmm.
extinguisher should be mounted
Right.
about 42 to 46 inches above the ground.
Okay.
Have a red sign, above it saying fire extinguisher. I have it on my checklist that I give my attendants. We're talking about cleaning out lint and cleaning out the back rooms behind the dryers. I actually have it on a written list is one of the things that's no cost, low tech clipboard and a list on how frequently things need to be checked.
Right.
And it's really a system putting in place. I had one of my attendants use the leaf blower in the back room, which we kind of put an end to that, but we're vacuuming it now. Cleaning that out because we don't want that stuff to get into motors and electrical components and things like that. But definitely cleaning behind the dryers is important.
Hmm.
I would say kind of going back to people you trust. Obviously good attendants that are cognizant. And I would also go so far as to having a good customer base. I have a story that we had. I wasn't there. My wife wasn't there. But we had a customer trying to fit a hard case suitcase in a top load washer, and somehow they got it in there. And they started the washer somehow, and the belt started smoking, and it filled the laundromat with smoke. And
Hmm.
because we had a customer there that was a regular, she immediately called the fire department. We donate to the fire department. They were there in 3 or 4 minutes. Crazy.
Yeah.
Just that kind of thing.
Yeah.
One of the things I talk about when people listen to me is trying to build a customer base that feels like it's their laundromat, that they own it. Have
Hmm.
a sense of ownership, a sense of pride that that's where you go. That's why you have to keep
Hmm.
clean. That's why you put up good signage. You keep things running.
Hmm.
A lot of the interaction, talking to them, and they just kind of watch out for
Hmm.
things that don't look right. I've had
Right.
customers tell me sometimes my trough runneth over with water because we got some mop heads in there. We've had them report the smoke. We've had them report, some shady looking characters in there, all sorts of stuff. So anything you can do to contribute
Right.
that. The other thing, just on
Mhm.
that's luckily the only fire experience I've had in my laundromat, but the customers that I service for service, I've had three now that have had rags ignite. There was one that restaurant across the street brought in kitchen or kitchen rags with kitchen grease on it. Then I had one had some diesel fuel on it. And there was another one with combustible. I think they were shop rags. They had some type of solvent on them that ended up igniting.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of watching out for that signage, knowing who your customers are with that. I guess if they're gonna wash those, try to figure that out ahead of time and say, well, those need to be washed first before you put them in the dryer, or washed really well, to get that out of there.
Right.
So
Right.
those kind of rags.
Mhm.
The other
Mhm.
thing I would say, certainly open electrical connections, Brian was talking about, whether that be during construction or if you're doing a do-it-yourself, or make sure those junction boxes are covered, make sure wire nuts are used on wires, not just the slap it together and put it back.
Right.
Well, it's obviously a source of ignition. So
Mhm. Good, great stuff. Alex, there's a question here from someone came in directly to you. It's do you see dryer fires in the newer dryers with anti-wrinkle, um, with an anti-wrinkle the anti-wrinkle dryers? Are you seeing more of those? They turn every 10 minutes for a minute after the cycle is complete. That's someone was asking that. I don't know if you've seen anything or if you can speak to that at all.
I will say the newer equipment definitely has technology. We see more dryer fires with older equipment, and the newer equipment, newer dryers come with technology, that'll prevent the fire from spreading. So it'll contain it to one unit. So we are seeing that with the newer equipment, and we're actually trying to work with carriers to take that into consideration when folks have newer equipment with some of that technology that's going to prevent that fire from spreading beyond the dryer.
Mhm.
Can
Right.
can I jump in on that?
Please.
So basically what anti-wrinkle does is anti-wrinkle has the potential to reduce spontaneous combustion fires associated with over drying. So like what Matt was talking about with solvents and things, those types of spontaneous combustion fires, which when I was a dealer salesperson, that was really the only ones that I ever saw. Solvents, cleaning solvents at home, people just not washing everything out, and those types of fires with solvents that are inside the clothes. There's really not a whole lot you can do. There's no technology on dryer technology currently that will prevent that from happening. I mean, if somebody has something that's flammable, it will it's going to go up probably. I mean, there's some new technology that are being announced by some of the manufacturers that will prevent it, but for the most part, that's a problem that we all still have. The one that we used to not have, or used to be a problem, was spontaneous combustion. If you over dry a bunch of towels and then they just sit there, if they sit there for hours, then they've been dried for an hour. If they sit there for an hour, they will actually simmer as they start to cool down, and they will actually spontaneous combust. We used to get it a lot in the hotel side of things at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Somebody would over dry, not want to fold all the towels before they walk out the door. They put dry towels in the dryer, hit it on a manual dry for 45 minutes. They're sitting there 3 o'clock in the morning, the fire would go up. What anti-wrinkle does is brings in, it flops every few minutes, and then it will bring in ambient air, and so it allows those over-dried towels or whatever to slowly cool down over time. So if they don't have solvent and they're just simply dried for an hour, which you know, you end up with people that I don't know why want to spend an hour drying clothes. The anti-wrinkle will prevent that type of fire from happening.
Okay, great. That's great, great information. Thanks, Brian. Someone else is asking about lint and some of the non-obvious places to look for lint around the dryers. Is there anywhere that you would suggest looking that you may not think to look? Anybody?
This is Matt, you know, not for fires, but I know lint is probably half of my issues with you know, coin drops not working. You know, it gets in there and causes the, you know, makes me dig them out. Other obvious places. Yeah, I would say that again, closing the junction boxes, especially in if you've got credit card and you know, most of the new dryers are going to have a board, you know, a control board on the back. It's kind of heck for those things. So you know, make sure that that's covered.